Good morning, Paleo Keepers, and welcome back to Prehistoric Kingdom. Today we are making an enclosure for the Argentinosaurus, and this is my first ever time making an enclosure for it, and I felt like making it very simple. The thing when I make like sauropod enclosures, I feel like they have to be absolutely massive, I know in game it doesn't really matter too much, but if you're looking at a real world perspective, it kind of feels unfair giving them a very small enclosure. Now this is a mix between the two. It's large-ish, but it's also small-ish for like the kind of like size comparison for this humongous sauropod basically. Like, it does feel like it would need a lot more space than I'm already giving it. I also wanted to make it nice and simple. I didn't have like a crazy amount of time, but I do want some detail in there. So my thought behind it is, I can see fencing and things like this being very difficult to keep this creature inside of its enclosure. If you ever watched Prehistoric Park, you'll know this issue from just seeing the Titanosaurs just break through all the fencing that was made to try and house them in whilst they were looking for stones. So I was like thinking, how would you really keep in? I mean, steel and concrete, things like this feels like a good choice to try and keep a massive sauropod within its enclosure. However, I feel like it would either slowly damage it or it would damage itself. So you kind of want a deterrent in a way, and that is in the form of a electric fencing. As not very humane as it sounds, it's probably the best way to do it, because it'll probably zap itself once or twice and realise I'm not going to be touching the fence with the big red flashing lights on it, because it kind of hurts. So yeah, that's the kind of vibe I went for. I quite enjoyed the look of the fence I did, even adding the support, so if it did get sort of bent into, it had a little bit of like extra support that would stop the Argentinosaurus from breaking out. And for its housing, I also wanted to keep it very simple again. I wanted that kind of barn look. I do like the one that you can already place down that's already made, but I thought I'd try and make my own version, and I really enjoyed this. Like, it was quite nice. I added a skylight, so there's some nice lighting in there, and they can watch the clouds and stars when they sleep, sort of thing. And I just thought it was nice, simple. It kind of went with the aesthetic of the rest of the enclosure. And yeah, it didn't take too long to make. I think the longest bit was me trying to sort out all the support beams and get it so it looked like they were actually supporting something and weren't just there for decoration. And I feel like I did an alright job. Thinking back to it as well though, I could probably do some more with the roof, adding support beams there, because when I looked up I realised they don't have the support beam. They sort of have like a look to them, but they've got support, but I feel like that support could be added a little bit more and more strength to it, if you get what I mean. With the door as well, I didn't want it all the way to the ceiling. I wanted a sliding door, and only now am I noticing this. This sliding door here is the door that's meant to let them in and out, and yeah, where I've got the bit that slides, it's going to have to do the limbo to get under. As if I'm only noticing now. That, obviously my thought process when I was making this enclosure really wasn't there. But hey ho, at least the staff can get in there, and I'd say you probably have to trank the dinosaurs, put them on a big wheeled vehicle, and they'd be on the ground and bring them out that way. We'll go with that imaginative route. They're not going to be able to walk out themselves. They're going to have to be sedated and put on a truck and then sort of wheeled out. So yeah, it kind of works, But yeah, for the viewing area, I only wanted one side being able to be viewed. As well, I added that double pane glass so it's nice and protective. And then I just made use of one of the actual barriers that you can use, because I thought it's really decorative, and it's obviously a standoff barrier to try and keep like guests from getting too close to the fence, because one, they'll get zapped. If they get in the enclosure and get trodden on, well, there's no resuscitating that person back to life anyways. So I had a few decorations. I made these sort of raised garden beds. I was going to add like trees and things loosely at first, but then I was thought, well, a bit like most of my builds that I make for giant creatures, having trees just loosely around, the trees can get damaged. If the trees are getting damaged, it could also damage your wildlife. In theory, in the game, it's never going to happen, but I'm trying to add a little bit of realism to this, a little bit of storytelling to the enclosure. So the way I did it was just keep it nice, simple, and I did just copy and paste the beds and then just went around changing some of the plants that were in the like bedding area, just to add some like different height, different sort of line of sights, and it's just something interesting to look at. I added a long grass brush all across the enclosure as well, so there's just some like random like grassy plants knocking about, and it just looks kind of nice. It's nice and simple. Like when you go to see large animal enclosures, they're not always heavily decorated, because obviously those decorations can get damaged. A lot of time you see them, they're quite open plains. It may look weird at first, especially when you're used to making smaller creature enclosures and you go for like heavy dense foliage and decoration. Having a nice big open one just seems a bit strange, but at the end of the day, the main part of this is your dinosaurs rather than your decoration, so you don't have to be 100% focused on your decoration. You can always be focused on the actual dinosaur itself, especially when you want to watch it go and do its thing with its drinking water, moving around. But yeah, let's go on to these models. Like, they look absolutely beautiful, these Argentinosaurus. I love the spikes on the back, the coloration of them, the pattern, the way they move the enclosure. I don't know if it's intentional, but occasionally I see them like absolutely shake their brains out. Like, they properly shake their head around. I don't know if I got a clip of it happening, but I was like looking at it like, is that meant to be doing that? It doesn't look like it shouldn't be doing it, and it also just looks kind of strange and different. But anyways, I hope this build has given you some inspiration with your builds, and thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.